Hey everyone, I'm your host Brittany Jones Cooper. Welcome back to Build. Dancer and actor Jenna Dewan joins us today to chat about her new book, Gracefully You. In the book, she opens up about her personal journey from spiritual practices to relationships and career to help readers find their own voice and balance in this crazy, crazy world. Please help me welcome Jenna Dewan.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, I mean, how cool is it to see your cover this big? The book comes out today, right?
This is really, this is such a crazy moment for me. Yes, I'm an author. Like, it's wild.
You're
I'm
an
so
author,
excited.
and I can tell that it was a labor of love, pun intended.
Yes.
Because it is part memoir, but part self-help. I mean, it really is all these things together. So why was this the format that you wanted to share your story in?
It just naturally evolved into this format. It started as a poetry book, actually. They came to me and I said, well, I really love poetry. I'd love to do a book on poetry. And then just kind of kept evolving, and then it became, well, I'm going to add this personal story in there, and then I want to talk about my life as a dancer, and then I want to talk about how people ask me how I meditate and find balance, and then lots of stuff happened in my life, and it was hard not to bring that into the book. So it kind of became a compilation of a lot of things all at once.
How long did that take?
2 years.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. If I fully understand writers right now too, with the whole, you have writer's block, or you have to wait for the inspiration, or you write something and then 3 months later you revisit it and you want to change it up. So it just took me a little bit longer, and I had to kind of go back and change certain things and take things out and add things in, and it was a real process.
I think especially with a book like this, I was like, how did she choose what to put in, what to leave out? Because there are just so many little tidbits. So was that hard to just sort of focus in on certain parts of your life?
Yeah, it was. But it was also, it kind of naturally happened. But definitely there's certain moments where you're like, well, do I want to talk about this story or this story? And then you get down to it and you go, well, I have this many pages and this is important for me to say. This feels really right. This feels authentic. This I want to share and help others. This I want to keep private. There's just a lot of, it's like a dance, pun intended.
A balancing dance. I did not realize how spiritual you are and how much of that informs who you are in this world. I mean, I think for so many people, I've just seen you on social or in movies, and I feel like I know you better now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so when did that spiritual journey start for you?
Young. I was very, very young. I didn't grow up religious or really even have a spiritual parent or anything like that. I just always loved it, and I always sort of felt a connection to something mystical. I would talk about it a lot. I would gravitate towards, I even at one point was begging my mom to take me to church. And she's like, why? Like, none of us go to church. This is such a strange request, but I just liked the idea of what I think is connection. And I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I've always just sort of had that inclination. And then as I write about it in the book, when I was in my 20s, I was dancing with Janet on tour. And there was
Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson. Yeah.
Janet Jackson.
Is there another Janet?
I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I know for the youngins that are like, who? Like Janet Jackson. Yeah. So she had a masseuse on tour that was very spiritual and sort of saw that side of me and opened it up, said, read this book and maybe you'd like this. And it became this like, it was like, Pandora's box was opened, and I was like remembering a lot of this and going, yes, that's what I've always thought, or that's what I felt. And it's always been a huge priority, a major value in my life. And I'm happiest when I'm connected in that way. And I call it the flow. I like to stay in the flow.
Because you talk about setting your intention for the day, meditating, manifesting, all of these buzzwords you hear, but you really kind of break it down for people and how it's like positively impacted your life. I found that to be really inspiring as somebody who's sort of starting that journey. It felt like a really good entry point.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, like everybody, there are times in life where I'm not, perfect and I'm not meditating and setting intentions. But I know that I'm now on a point where I'm kind of doing it subconsciously, even if I'm not saying my intention for the day is this. It's just I know that that's the flow I get into, and it makes my life infinitely better in all ways, and it helps you through everything.
Do you have a manifestation story, like something that you really sort of looked forward to and then it happened?
So many. This is a random one, but recently I had I wanted to play a superhero for a long time. So I had a vision board, and I had like a Catwoman character who had like a long, patent black leather cat suit on. And I always had this picture in my mind of what that was going to be. And lo and behold, it wasn't an action movie, but I just filmed my TV show soundtrack for Netflix, and he wrote this entire scene in where I'm in a black patent leather cat suit, and I'm dancing. I'm not necessarily fighting, but I was like, I had this weird moment where I was like, oh my God, this happened. Like, it was so specific of me to think of that particular feeling that I wanted. And it was even though it wasn't a Catwoman or a superhero, it was the same feeling. It was sort of, a boss in charge, powerful, sexy, dominating woman. It was like this kind of character that I got to play. So in some weird way, I even showed him the picture of the vision board I had.
But that's like what I've learned about manifestation and all those things.
Yeah.
It's never like what you actually
it's the
think
feeling.
it's going to be. It's the feeling, and
Yeah.
it's sort of like a general
That's the
thing.
trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like focus on the feeling, and then generally how it does manifest is what you wanted even more that fits you even better.
Yeah. You also talk a lot about journaling, and journaling like every night before bed. Yeah. I'm interested, like, what is that process like going back and rereading and sort of like processing who you were at one time versus now?
I journaled quite a lot for a good period of time there at bedtime. And then you go through periods where then you try something else. I was doing breath work for a minute, and I wasn't necessarily journaling like I wanted to, or that I found another practice. Journaling really helped me turn off the brain and sort of get it out on paper, and I would see it written and go, oh, that is how I feel. And I still have moments where I'll just be going and I'm like, oh, I have to write this down. I have to journal this, and it'll just kind of, free flow kind of come out.
Would you ever let your daughter read your journals?
Like
one day, like when she's grown?
Yeah, I think. Could I edit?
We'll redact. We'll do some redacting.
Yes,
She's like, Mom, why is there Sharpie all over the place?
Yeah. Over 18. I think you can read it.
Like I said, I feel like I got to know you a lot better from this book, which I think a lot of your fans will appreciate. And part of it is you opened up really honestly about your separation from Channing Tatum. So what was that decision like, choosing to tell your story this way?
For me, it was people coming up to me and saying, I'm going through a really hard time in my life. How do you handle that? How do you seem like you're doing this with ease or with grace? Or to me, I'm like, if we're not, what are we here for if we're not sort of helping others along the process? And my story is my story. It's no one else's, but I felt that sharing sort of we all are dealt challenges, every single one of us, and how I dealt with that, and really chose to turn inward and try and make myself a better person at the end of the day, and learn about myself and what I wanted in life and how I wanted to come out the other end of this. I just felt like I would want to read that. I wanted to hear that story. So I just thought sharing what my truth was would possibly help somebody else.
And how difficult it was, especially since, it all was happening around when World of Dance, this really amazing thing was coming into your life. And personally, you have a whole different battle you're fighting.
Yeah, it was World of Dance really was a blessing, though, because it came right at perfect divine timing, and it helped me. It helped me focus on the work and have sort of a motivation every single day that was sort of keeping me just one step in front of the other. And it was wonderful the way that worked out.
Love that show, by the way.
Thanks.
And we see that you are expecting.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is your daughter Everly excited to be a big sister?
She is so excited. She's too excited. She tells everybody. She's telling me what to eat and what not to eat. She's like, anyone that'll listen, she'll come up and be like, my mom has the baby in her belly. And she like lifts it up and shows everybody. And she kisses it before she goes to school. It's adorable. She told us she'd been waiting her entire life for this. She said, I never wanted to be an only child. I've been waiting my entire life for this. We're like, really? All 6 years? Wow.
Such a long wait.
That's so long.
She seems like this really confident, sensitive sort of, the way you write about her is so loving. Yeah. And it seems like you try to just be so calm in parenting. Mm-hmm. So is that how you and Channing are approaching co-parenting as well?
Mm-hmm. I like to think I don't think I've ever been as patient as I am as I am with Evie. There's something that happened with me when I became a mother where I just really listen to her and I'm able to be present with her, and I have way more patience than I ever did in my entire life. I would never say that prior to being a mom I was patient, and now I'm like, no, I have patience with her. So I just try and kind of, incorporate that through everything I do. And she's my number one priority, always will be, and what's best for her is what I think of every single day.
Yeah. And how much has your spiritual practice sort of helped you through the last 2 years?
Oh God, it's been essential.
Yeah.
It's grown actually. It became. It's always been really important to me, but it also became something that was my lighthouse. It was the thing that really caused me to have faith. Because I think when you are going through a lot of changes in life, you have to sort of believe in something, that this is meant to be, or that there's a reason for this. And I just always knew it. I said, I kind of had a feeling. I was like, I know this is all happening for a better reason.
And the way you talk about diet and your plant-based diet,
Yes.
vegetarian, I've never really heard before, because you have all of these sort of tools that you use to help you through stressful moments, like the holy basil
Yes,
and
basil.
celery. I was like, what? So
I
can you
know.
talk about just how you learned these things about these foods and how you incorporate them into dealing with like stress?
I went to Peru for a few weeks and lived with an indigenous tribe down there. Like lived in a hut. Like there was no, nothing. But what I was really struck with was how they viewed nature. And we literally took a walk, and like every single flower and plant was used for a medicinal purpose or an emotional purpose. And they just had such respect for the different living beings that were in this forest. And I kind of just was really intrigued by that. And then through that, a lot of the women I met down there told me a lot about the different plants, and about basil and how that's really good for heart healing and things that, in other cultures they assume and use and do every day, but we don't, in America, that's not something that we really focus on.
No, just to jump in, you mentioned the holy basil, like there's like a salad to eat if you're going through like a heartbreak and you want to feel good. And I'm like, honey, it's a cheeseburger for me. But like maybe I'll try it.
It's like a glass of wine for me. Yes.
Maybe I'll try it. But I was sort of inspired
It's
to
stress
look.
reducing and relieving. It's supposed to be great for heartache and all of those things. I mean, I listen, I drank it and it felt good to me.
In Peru, I'm interested, like, what was it about that country? Because you write about it extensively in the baths that you learned to take when you were in Peru. They're like the most
Plant
elegant
baths.
baths I've ever heard of.
Oh, they were so fun. We would make these baths where, so you do it under the moonlight, and you have these different plants, and you kind of massage them and break them up, put them in water, and put lime, lemon, a lot of different. It was like making this kind of mixture. And then it sort of marinates for a while, and then you take a bath in it. And in their culture, they believe that it sort of cleanses your energetic system, your mind, your body, everything. It's like very normal to them. They talk about it like you're talking about like, what I'm going to eat today. Like, yeah, so your plant bath tonight is, it's like, and I just really loved it, and I felt better, and I think I really liked the ritual of intentionally creating something with a purpose, taking the time to do it, not being on your phone while doing it. I mean, it was just like felt like back to your nature, like that divine feminine awesomeness. So yeah.
Such an important part of your self-care routine, I think, like having those special moments that you create for yourself.
Yes.
Do you find yourself leaning even more into those things with your second pregnancy?
Yeah, I do. I did this with Evie too. I become very Earth Mama-ish. I really connect more to everything. You're super sensitive, and so you're just really much more connected, period, because you're growing a life inside of you. So I think about that, and I'm trying to take more time. I love a bath, and I love some self-care. It's a little bit different because this time I have a toddler to chase after. So, like, I remember when I was pregnant with Evie, I was like, what am I going to do today? It was like, let me just wake up and go to lunch, like whatever. And now it's like, you got a schedule, and I'm working on top of it, and there's just a little bit more to do. So I'm really trying to find more time to do classes and meditate and do the yoga. And
what kind of classes do you do?
I've been taking a Pilates class, and I do Pilates sort of private with a Pilates teacher. I also found this meditation place in LA called the Den that I go to that you can just sort of pop in and try meditation, and I'm prenatal yoga I'm getting into, and all this kind of stuff. It's like, it's important because you don't want it just to be over and then you didn't take any time for it.
And I think there's something about being calm in your pregnancy instead of all the anxiety. And I mean, I think there's a lot of places where you can choose anxiety.
Yes.
Or you can choose to like make a Peruvian bath and just chill out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think all that time, sort of spending that time and having these last couple of years to really kind of create that connection helped me a lot. I think I'm a lot more chill this time around. You should probably ask Steve. Am I chill?
Yeah. So the book, what do you hope people sort of take away from it, or what was your intention in writing it?
I wanted people to feel what I feel with like the importance of creating a connection with something greater. Also understanding that there is a graceful way to find balance and to go through challenges in life, and to remember who we really are at the end of the day, and to remember that as you're making your decisions and you want to connect with people and go through tough times and all of that. I kind of want it to be a book where you just open up and you can flip to any page and you can read it and just gain something that you take with you throughout the day. Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be front to back, and kind of just be opened up.
That connecting to people part, I really resonated with. Like you said, just right now, everybody's sort of looking for ways that we can connect deeper. And the way you talk about giving compliments to people, all these sort of like small acts, I think are just nice reminders.
Yeah, because aren't you struck when somebody actually connects with you during the day? I don't know about you guys, but like if you're just go throughout your day and then one person actually takes a little bit longer to connect with you or to see you, really, you're like, oh, and you remember it for a week. You're like, this person was so lovely. And so I really have always responded to that, and I kind of wanted to make that more of an intention in my life.
That also kind of rolls over into this social media world, and you talk about just, you know, what's presented and how things really are, and trying to be as honest as possible in that experience. So what is your relationship with social media these days?
I mean, it's funny because it really is a highlight reel no matter how you sort of look at it. I've always had fun with it. I've always liked it. I like the idea of sharing and connecting with people. I like being in charge of it too. There's something about, you know, when I first started acting, and you're always at the mercy of what everybody is sort of wanting to write about you or your story or the movie you did or the TV show you're a part of. So there's something nice about social media that it's your voice. So I make sure that everything I post or that I put out there is my voice. From brands I work with to pictures I post, I don't overthink it. I just have fun with it, and kind of becomes little bits of you sprinkled everywhere.
Speaking of pictures, do you have like so many pictures to post on Instagram from this book? There has to be some of the most beautiful photo shoots I've ever seen.
Thank you. Yeah,
what was that process like?
They're just really Corey, this photographer, who's a friend of mine. He's amazing, and he came over, and we did this in like 6 hours in my house, and he just has
hours.
Yeah, like so fast.
How many costume changes did you have?
A lot.
Yeah.
But I was just running up to my closet, putting on different things, running down. We worked Evie, and Evie is like, she's very camera shy at the time. She's starting to not be, but at the time she was very camera shy. So we sort of worked in a way to get her involved, and we did it really fast. And yeah, I do have quite a nice.
They're great. You have Instagrams for like
I know exactly. I know. Someone said it looks like their Pinterest board come to life. I was like, kind of, actually. That's exactly what it is.
And you mentioned, we don't see your daughter's face, and you don't make her public in general. What was the decision behind that, and is that something you're going to continue with this baby?
Yeah, that was something. You know, Channing and I kind of decided in the beginning that we just weren't comfortable without her deciding for herself. I mean, it's weird. She's young. She has no say, but the whole world knows what her face looks like. And privacy reasons, we wanted to be careful. But I think it's backfired because she's 6 and she's begging me for a YouTube page, and she's like aware that I don't put her face in pictures. She's like, put my face in pictures. So I don't know if you want to listen to me, because now I think I have a future influencer on my hands.
Future YouTuber, which is like kind of a nightmare.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I was like, but I protected you from this. And she's like, I want my own page. She wants to open up toys for the whole world to see.
Oh, those videos are so cute, though.
Yeah, they are really cute. They are really cute.
She'd have like so many
We make them, and she thinks they go out there in the world, but We don't.
And that's a great parenting
Yes,
tip.
exactly. Just lie. It's wonderful.
We do have a couple of questions. The first one is a tweet. If we could pull that up really quick.
Yes.
What is your favorite Janet Jackson song?
If. So good. I love All For You too.
But
I
the
love
If video,
If video like rocked my world.
game change.
I was like, what is this I'm watching? I learned all her moves from her videos and from the Velvet Rope tour prior to ever working with her. So I kind of knew them ahead of time. If was like, it always is. If that plays, I don't care where I am. I will break out the dance anywhere, everywhere, like everywhere I go.
You talk about that experience too, which I didn't realize how young you were.
Yeah.
You couldn't even drink.
No, Janet was sneaking me into clubs. I had a fake ID, which if she was going, I clearly didn't need. But yeah, I finished the tour before I was 21. So I did it 18, 19, 20. I turned 21 on the tour.
Is it like a blur now, or do you have like really distinct memories from that time?
Half and half. Like I have very distinct memories, and then there's certain. I see pictures. This is what's crazy. I see pictures of myself from that time, and I'm like, who is this person? It's like a whole different life. A whole different life.
Janet Jackson is my pop star stan, so I could honestly go another 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, we
just
could have a
talking
whole. Me too.
about,
I
like,
just
the
saw her
Scream
concert.
video.
Yes. Oh,
We'll move on.
so
For your sake, we'll move on.
yeah.
Who has the first question right there?
Hey, Jenna.
Hi.
My name's Ramel. I'm from London. I'm a TV and radio presenter out there as well.
Nice.
I'm loving just hearing about your journey, and especially as a woman and just as a mother and just being a real family girl, it sounds like. But as a performer growing up, did you ever think, when am I going to fit this in? Is this something that you kind of factored in and like is planning, especially for myself, one day I hope to be married and have children, is planning your family a vital part of being a performer and a star like yourself?
Oh, great question. I spoke a lot as a kid about wanting to have lots of kids. I was like, I had this vision of Christmas and a Christmas tree and just kids and family members and everyone running around. And so I knew it was always important to me, but I was highly ambitious, as you are. And so it just was never the right time. Kind of one of those things where something would happen, or then I was dancing on tour, or then I was making movies, and it was always there. I was not going to let this life go by without experiencing that. But I just had this kind of knowing. It was like something just clicked, and was like, it's the right time. Now's the right time. And what I can say now, which is funny, is that you think you have to take time off to be a mom. You have to, if you become a mom, then say goodbye to your career. And the actual opposite thing happened to me. It was as soon as I said, okay, you know what? I'm ready to have a baby, and I'm going to take time. It was as if she brought her own little magic with her, and it was like things just blossomed for me. So I was like, well, look, what do I know? And I think in this day and age, it's a whole different experience for women. We don't have to just be mothers. We don't have to just be about our career. We can kind of be everything all in the way that we want. What it did do, though, is prioritize for me. So there's a lot less that I say yes to. There's a lot of stipulations now. But what's amazing, and what we talk about with manifesting, is like I make it very clear. These are the things that I want to feel in my work, and it has to line up with my life in sort of certain ways. And it's like the opportunities come and match that criteria. So I kind of think there's no good time, but just trust that you can do it all. Yeah, you're welcome.
And on the
Good
topic
luck.
of manifesting, I mean, you kind of setting that intention when you were a kid and then kind of surrendering it and then it coming to you naturally.
The surrender, you are setting up
I'm
in your manifest.
in the space, guys.
Yes, you are in the zone. Yep. I always say you put out what you want, you let it go, and then you sort of let it come to you. But it's really about, I know certain people are like, I want this house to look this way. And it's like, no, you want to know how you feel in that house. And then you surrender it, and it generally kind of comes. Yeah.
One more?
Hi. Sorry. Thanks so much
Hi.
for coming to talk to us today. I just wanted to ask you about spirituality and like how it plays a really important role in your life, which is wonderful, and like how you're going to incorporate that into like bringing up your kids, because I feel like
Yes.
that's an interesting.
I think kids learn by your actions more than your words. So Evie is actually very inherently spiritual. she and a lot of the things she says, I'm like, I haven't actually said that. She's kind of found it for herself, but understands and a presence. And she talks a lot about nature. She's always telling me like, Mom, don't litter, like look out for that. And like that tree has feelings, you know, she's very in touch in that way. And I think a lot of it is just what she's sort of gained from watching and from watching my actions. And if I believe in it and I instill it, I don't push it on her. And I think that's kind of the best way to go with kids. And you watch them, you see what they light up to. She really lights up to sort of anything that involves a presence and a magical presence. Like she's just been that kid since she was born. But I think it's important to bring faith, whatever that is to you. If that could be faith in nature, it can be faith in God, whatever you want to believe, some sort of way into a kid's life early on, because it gives you a base for what to do when challenges come by and when you got to go through life. And I like live that way. So I just kind of, let that sprinkle out into my kids, hopefully. You're welcome.
And now you've put it all in a book. So if they are curious
they have
about
any
it,
problems, be like, open up to page
you're
32.
like, here you go. I can't with you anymore. Turn to page 100.
Effie's very happy about her chapter. She calls it her chapter.
That's what she calls it?
Yes. Yeah, it's really cute.
I love that. I have found my own chapter, though. I mean, I feel like everybody will sort of gravitate towards certain tips you offer or certain stories you tell, which is the beautiful part about this book, is that little something for everybody. And again, I think it's amazingly vulnerable of you to share your personal stories. And I know that's not always easy when you're in the public eye.
Yeah. In the public eye, it's a little dance. I got to stop saying that, but it's a dance you do. There's certain things you want to keep for yourself, but there's also certain things you want to share and help others that are going through a similar situation. So
I think you do that. So
thank
you for writing it. And Gracefully You is available today, guys, wherever books are sold. So go get a copy and put your hands together for Jenna Dewan.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.